There's a video going viral right now, you've probably seen it. A woman slapping a man, again and again. He doesn't move, doesn't flinch, doesn't react, until suddenly, he does. One slap back, and the world freezes. The comment section explodes. Half the people scream abuse. The other half whisper a question no one wants to say out loud. What did she expect? But that video isn't really about a slap. It's about something much deeper, something you felt but never had words for. A quiet misunderstanding that's been building pressure for years. A dangerous confusion between restraint and weakness. Because when you don't react, it's not because you can't. It's because you're choosing not to. And that choice is costing you more than anyone admits. This is MindLedger, where we decode the hidden forces that shape attraction, devotion, and human behavior. If you've ever felt the weight of holding yourself back, subscribe. Not for validation, for clarity. You live in a world that constantly tests your limits, disrespects you softly at first, then louder, then publicly. And every time you stay calm, you're told that's progress, that's maturity, that's strength. But something subtle happens when restraint goes unrecognized. It stops being respected. And slowly, it starts being exploited. You've been in that moment. Someone crosses a line. Your body reacts before your mind does. Jaw tightens. Breath shortens. That heat rises in your chest. Ancient, instinctive, undeniable. And then you stop it. You swallow it. You tell yourself it's not worth it. You walk away. Not because you're afraid, but because you understand the consequences better than anyone else in the room. That's not weakness. That's discipline. But discipline is invisible. And invisible strength is easy to mock. There's a story men tell quietly, if they tell it at all. Arguments where objects fly past their heads. Words designed to humiliate, not communicate. Moments where the safest option isn't standing your ground. It's removing yourself entirely. You leave the room, you leave the house, you leave the relationship. And somehow, you're called a coward for it. Because modern narratives have created a dangerous illusion. The idea that your restraint is automatic, that it's permanent, that it requires no effort, no cost, no recognition. But restraint isn't passive. It's an active suppression of power, a daily decision to choose civilization over instinct. And when that decision is taken for granted, something breaks. Not loudly, not violently, quietly. You stop explaining yourself. You stop engaging. You stop investing. Because respect isn't demanded. It's withdrawn when abused. There's another pattern you've noticed. Public humiliation disguised as humor. Private disrespect reframed as honesty. Social media turning intimacy into entertainment. Your dignity into content. You stay silent. You don't correct it. You don't retaliate. You internalize it. And then one day, you're gone. No fight. No closure. Just absence. And they're confused. They never saw it coming. Because they thought silence meant tolerance. They thought calm meant compliance. They thought restraint meant weakness. But what they never understood is that restraint has a limit, not a violent limit, a psychological one. When a man reaches it, he doesn't explode. He disengages. He stops protecting what doesn't protect him, stops providing where he's not valued, stops committing where he's not respected. And society is starting to feel that absence. Men aren't becoming more aggressive. They're becoming more distant, less available, less invested. And that's far more destabilizing than anger. Because anger still cares. Withdrawal doesn't. You're watching a cultural misunderstanding unfold in real time. One side believing power has disappeared. The other side quietly choosing not to use it. And eventually not to offer it at all. This isn't a threat. It's an observation. You can only mock self-control for so long before the people practicing it stop showing up. And when they do, they don't announce it. They don't explain it. They simply leave the game. And the silence they leave behind is louder than any slap ever could be. You might not realize it yet, but the consequences of this invisible erosion are everywhere. In the office, the boardroom, the streets you walk, men who once carried responsibilities silently are stepping back. Their absence is subtle, almost imperceptible at first. Fewer willing to volunteer, fewer willing to engage, fewer willing to risk. And where engagement disappears, chaos creeps in. Think about it. The men keeping systems running. The men ensuring safety without applause. The men who choose patience over retaliation every single day. What happens when patience runs dry? What happens when the silent ledger of disrespect finally demands payment? You see, male restraint is not just personal, it's civilizational. It's a pact between instinct and intellect. It's the agreement that physical capability does not equal action. Every man who chooses restraint contributes to the fragile structure that allows society to function. And every insult, every mockery, every provocation that goes unchecked erodes that structure. The world has changed faster than our instincts. Women today experience unprecedented safety and autonomy. Walk alone at night, speak freely, travel without fear, make choices previous generations couldn't imagine. All of this is a testament to the invisible effort of restraint. But some have mistaken protection for invulnerability. Some have confused the leash on power for absence of teeth. They think the safeguards are guarantees, not choices. And the misunderstanding is building a pressure cooker. Consider the intimate relationships around you. How many men do you know who are disengaged, emotionally distant, or simply absent? Not because they don't care, but because the cost of caring has become too high. To love someone who exploits your patience, to protect someone who mocks your self-control, to provide for someone who undermines your dignity, the math is simple. Respect equals engagement, disrespect equals withdrawal, and withdrawal has consequences. Society is only beginning to notice. Some women will see this and panic. Where have all the good men gone? But the truth is, they didn't vanish. They just stopped playing a rigged game. They stopped accepting disrespect as the price of companionship. They stopped sacrificing their peace for validation they never received. And they chose themselves, their calm, their dignity, their freedom. The warning signs are everywhere. The rise of passport bros leaving Western countries entirely, men retreating into solitude, declining marriage rates, birth rates collapsing, men withdrawing from institutions they built, jobs they maintained, relationships they sustained. Every choice a quiet protest, every absence a message society refuses to read. Because here's the hidden truth you're not being told. When male restraint is exploited, it doesn't turn violent immediately. It turns indifferent. It turns invisible. It turns society itself fragile. And indifference, when scaled, is far more dangerous than aggression. Imagine a world where the men maintaining the backbone of society stop caring. The infrastructure falters, the protections weaken, the silent guardians no longer intervene. It's not chaos from anger, it's chaos from absence. A withdrawal so complete that civilization begins to feel the cracks before anyone admits the cause. And what about those who continue to push, those who mock, provoke, and exploit? They think they're invincible, shielded by rules, systems, and cultural narratives. They think restraint is infinite. They've forgotten that all human effort has limits, and when those limits are reached, the balance tips, quietly, inevitably, irreversibly. Every man who walks away instead of retaliating is a hero the world fails to acknowledge. Every man who absorbs humiliation in silence is a keeper of order the world doesn't see. Every choice to stay calm in the face of provocation is a conscious act of civilization, not weakness. And yet, many men are nearing their breaking point. Not through rage, not through violence, but through disinterest, through disengagement, through choosing the peace of absence over the chaos of exploitation. And when that silence spreads, when that withdrawal is no longer the exception but the rule, you will feel the consequences everywhere in ways society cannot afford to ignore. The illusion that restraint is guaranteed is the most dangerous delusion alive today, because restraint is not permanent, it is earned, it is protected, it is maintained daily, and if that effort is not recognized, if that choice is exploited, one day the ledger demands payment, not in anger, but in withdrawal. Look around you. The men still holding their composure, still choosing peace over retaliation, still restraining what history programmed them to unleash. They are rare now, and rare things are often taken for granted. They go unnoticed, undervalued, unappreciated, until they're gone. Every insult, every push, every humiliation is not erased. It's stored, not in malice, but in memory. The mind is a ledger, and every unchecked provocation is a deposit. The body remembers what the world forgets. And one day, without warning, the account demands withdrawal, not for vengeance, not for satisfaction, but for survival of self-respect. You've seen the videos. Women laughing as men absorb blows they could never return. Men standing still while chaos is unleashed around them. The comments cheer the aggression, mock the restraint. And the lesson being taught is clear. Control is weakness. Patience is a joke. Strength without action is meaningless. But it is far from meaningless. Every man choosing not to retaliate is doing what no law can enforce. Every man who restrains himself is doing what no social contract can guarantee. He is preserving order in a world that increasingly rewards chaos. He is holding the line between civilization and instinct, between respect and ruin. And yet the system he maintains is fracturing. The legal protections designed to safeguard, when manipulated, trap the very men who created them. False accusations, misused trust, exploited patience. Every loophole, every manipulation, every misinterpretation chips away at the invisible agreement between restraint and reward. And men notice, they remember, they withdraw. Consider intimacy. The relationships where one side constantly tests limits, mocks control, exploits patience. It is not love, it is manipulation. And manipulation breeds withdrawal. A man can only absorb so much before the ledger is balanced by absence. When that happens, the void left is not easily filled. The silent erosion of respect becomes the collapse of connection. Look at young men today. Boys taught that aggression is toxic, that strength is dangerous, that restraint is expected but never valued. They grow up confused, conflicted, frustrated. Some internalize it, retreating into solitude, virtual worlds, fantasy. Others rebel, embracing the very aggression society condemns. Neither path is healthy. Both are consequences of misunderstanding the invisible balance that once guided human interaction. And the women who push without understanding, they are blind to this balance. They confuse safety for invulnerability, control for weakness. They forget that the men around them are not machines programmed to endure. They forget that restraint is a choice, and every choice has limits. They test the boundaries of a system that is sustained not by rules, but by human effort, by discipline, by the quiet decision to hold back. Every day, men pay the price of patience. Not with violence, but with absence. Not with anger, but with disengagement. And slowly, imperceptibly, the world begins to feel the gap. The protector who no longer intervenes, the provider who no longer gives, the participant who no longer cares. The illusion that civilization guarantees safety is fragile. Because civilization depends on restraint. Without it, instinct and chaos fill the void. And instinct is not negotiable. It is ruthless. It is unrelenting. It is real. The social contracts can't enforce morality, only consequences. And those consequences, when provoked, will be inevitable. You may not see it now, but the ledger is balancing itself. Every act of disrespect, every dismissal of patience, every mockery of control is an investment in the coming withdrawal. And when men collectively choose to stop participating, it won't be subtle. It won't be polite. It won't be negotiable. It will be absence, silence, disengagement. And that silence in time will speak louder than any confrontation ever could. You think it will never reach you. You think restraint is infinite, that patience has no expiration date, that respect can be assumed, demanded, or taken for granted. But every man carries an invisible clock, ticking quietly beneath the surface. Every act of disrespect, every insult, every push adds seconds to that countdown. And when it runs out, there is no rewind, no pause, no apology that can restore what has been eroded. Men are not blind to this. They see the games, the manipulations, the provocations, dressed as humor. They feel the imbalance, the one-sidedness of a world where their strength is mocked and their restraint punished. And slowly, quietly, they begin to detach. Not with anger, not with vengeance, but with absence. Withdrawal is their language. Silence is their protest. Disengagement is their response to a society that no longer honors the currency of patience. Look at your surroundings. Every man who walks away, every man who chooses to stay calm, every man who chooses peace over provocation is performing an act of heroism no one acknowledges. They are holding civilization together with invisible hands, invisible effort, invisible sacrifice. And yet, the world cheers the audacity that challenges this restraint. They mock the very behavior that protects them. They confuse composure for cowardice, patience for impotence. They mistake control for weakness. And the consequences are already unfolding. Men stepping back from relationships, careers, responsibilities, and social obligations. The collapse of trust, the erosion of intimacy, the decline of participation. Society depends on those who act with strength under control, and the cost of ignoring this truth is clear. Withdrawal, disengagement, a slow unraveling of the structure they have silently upheld. The men who remain are discerning. They will give protection only where respect exists. They will invest commitment only where it is reciprocated. They will extend loyalty only where it is valued. The entitlement to take without acknowledgement, to push without consequence, is ending. And the moment the world realizes that male restraint is not automatic, not infinite, not guaranteed, the shift will feel abrupt and unforgiving. Do not mistake civility for submission. Do not confuse composure for weakness. The line between respect and chaos is thin, and the men who maintain it are not passive. They are choosing, every day, to control what instinct demands they release. They are suppressing the very behaviors society claims to condemn. And every moment this choice is ignored, mocked, or exploited, the weight of consequence grows heavier. History is watching, patterns repeat. Every civilization has depended on those willing to hold back, restrain, and control what could easily destroy. Ignore this truth at your peril. The world may look calm, civilized, and orderly. But beneath the surface, the ledger balances silently, inevitably, and without prejudice. And when the breaking point is reached, the absence, the withdrawal, the disengagement will speak louder than any confrontation ever could. Every act of mockery, every exploit, every test of patience deposits into an invisible account. And every account eventually demands payment, not for revenge, not for satisfaction, but for the simple restoration of balance. Civilization depends on it. Relationships depend on it. Respect depends on it. The warning is clear. Every man choosing restraint is performing a miracle no one sees. Every day he absorbs disrespect, he maintains order. Every act of patience, every step back, every moment of silence is a gift, not a guarantee. And when the world finally realizes this, it may be too late. This is where most people falter. They see strength and assume aggression. They see patience and assume weakness. They watch restraint and think it will last forever. But the truth is more subtle, more dangerous, and infinitely more powerful. Every man who holds back is balancing on a razor's edge between civilization and chaos, between love and destruction, between order and collapse. You may not see it in the moment. You may not recognize the quiet heroism of a man walking away from provocation, of a man suppressing the primal urge to retaliate. But every choice, every act of self-control accumulates. It builds unseen structures in relationships, in families, in communities. It is the invisible architecture of trust, safety, and stability. And when it is ignored, mocked, or exploited, those structures crumble without warning. Think about the men in your life, the ones who have tolerated disrespect quietly, who have sacrificed their own comfort for the sake of peace, who have chosen patience over pride. These are not weak men. They are masters of restraint, guardians of order, keepers of civilization. And when society treats their discipline as a given, when the world assumes they will absorb insult without consequence, it sows the seeds of an inevitable reckoning. The reckoning may not come with fists. It may come with silence. It may come with withdrawal. It may come as men choosing themselves over the endless exploitation of their restraint. They will not retaliate because they are cruel. They will not strike because they are vengeful. They will step away because they have reached the point where their effort, their patience, and their very strength are no longer appreciated. And when they do, the world will notice the absence of what it never truly recognized. This is the gift and the curse of restraint. It requires awareness, discipline, and courage. And it deserves acknowledgement, not contempt. It demands respect, not exploitation. Because when male restraint is tested, stretched, and ignored, it does not vanish quietly. It leaves slowly, irrevocably, and often the consequences of that departure are catastrophic for everyone who depended on it. So, understand this clearly. Male restraint is not weakness. It is civilization in action. It is strength under control. It is a choice, not a guarantee. And the moment that choice is taken for granted, mocked, or abused, the world is entering dangerous territory. The men who maintain this restraint are heroes you will never see, protectors you will never fully acknowledge, and their patience is finite. Honor it, respect it, recognize it, because ignoring it is not just dangerous, it is the prelude to collapse. If you are a man, remember this: your restraint is your power, your patience is your strength. Your choice to walk away, to stay calm, to preserve peace, is a testament to what separates you from the chaos that surrounds. Protect it, value it, and never let anyone convince you it is weakness. If you are a woman, understand this: respect is not optional. Exploiting restraint does not empower you. It endangers everyone. Recognize the quiet strength around you, honor it, and never mistake patience for impotence. The balance is fragile, the ledger is real, and the consequences of ignoring these truths are already unfolding. This is MindLedger, where we decode the hidden forces that shape attraction, devotion, and human behavior. If you felt the weight of this message, if it made you see things differently, subscribe and join us. Learn, observe, and understand the currents beneath the surface, because only those who see clearly can navigate safely. The world may seem calm, but the truth is always deeper, and those who respect it survive it.